practice is also quality. It means that I'm taking from the best. And when we collect and share knowledge, we increase the possibility of expanding this quality. And this is also very important not only for the diaspora, but also for policymakers and other actors in the field of development. So what is the essence of this information? I wouldn't want to repeat that again, so that I will come a bit more to SOBA at the end of my presentation. So best practice knowledge. What are the important questions to consider when I'm looking at best practice and I'm considering the knowledge? So I have to find out which approach did the person use. How did he start gathering his information here? The person who took computers back home and started a computer project, employed some few young people to be taking care of his internet cafe, how did that person start? Maybe he contacted some officials here. He was able to talk to some universities. Some of the universities here, they update their computers. After 5 years, they were able to remove those computers to give him at a very low cost. So which approach was used? In which context was the result positive? So it may be positive in Kongsamba, and you go to Menua, it's different. So, but you have to look at the local aspects on the ground. Which institutions, which personalities and know-how accompanied the process? So these are all important questions that when you take the information, you have to ask. What were the key success factors? So knowledge applied and strategy. Strategy is very, very important. Okay, because like I was talking last night, if we have a wonderful occasion like the one we had last night, we have to think of a strategy. Who is our audience? Now, Cameroonians is good, but something like that, maybe we need German audience to come and see, witness the core of our culture. So which strategy do I use? Maybe I need to contact the newspaper. If I contact the newspaper and I say, Obasanjo is going to dance, it wouldn't make sense. They wouldn't understand that. But maybe from research here, when I was in Benin Embassy for visa, I cannot imagine how many telephone calls came in from Germany. They wanted to know about voodoo. So instead of writing Obasanjo, I use another strategy. I say voodoo dance in Essen with a picture of. So those are things, it is a strategy. When they come, they will get the essence. You need to first have them come. So knowledge and strategy applied, you have to combine them. If the knowledge is good, the strategy is bad. I used to think that many people have died without us knowing them, but maybe they were more intelligent than Einstein. They didn't have the opportunity to come up. So the strategy is very important. Personalities involved. We know in Germany, in Cameroon, vitamin B, Beziehung, as they say in German, relationships that you have with important personalities. And thank God we have our ambassador who is always supporting us. So in this area, we already have where we can turn to for information, for assistance. I'm sure we have some economists here. They say a number which indicates the magnitude of a particular macroeconomic policy measure. That is, a multiplier attempt to quantify the additional effect of a policy or an action beyond those that are immediately measurable. For example, you may decrease tax in the government. You think that you have just decreased tax, but what is the effect? People have more money in their pockets. What is the further effect? They can buy more goods, they can consume more, which means companies have to produce more. When companies produce more, they have to employ people. That is the multiplication effect that a measure like that can have. So we can start projects here, we come and share best practice knowledge. The opportunities are there, the agencies are there. We are going to see SIM today. Our embassy is there with our honorable ambassador who is always there to support us, and information we can get them. We are sharing some of it today. So that said, Cameroon needs you and I. Are you ready to start? Are you ready to contribute in producing a multiplier effect? Is SOBA ready to face the challenge of selling this wonderful knowledge, this idea? You have set standards which others can use, and I appreciate that a lot. So last year we took off, and where are we today? And the last thing I have to say about SOBA is, if we want, I always like to demonstrate with an example. So I'll go back to our funnel. Now, if we take last night, culture is a very important aspect of, culture is our identity. If you take my culture away from me, you are taking me away from myself. I don't need to exist. And what we did yesterday, I have lived with this German society for a long time, in this German society for a long time. And it sometimes amazes me when some 2 students who are doing their internship in Africa, they come, and for the next 4 months, they are occupying 2-3 pages in the newspaper about culture in Africa, Cameroon, when the information is empty. And then we have information like that yesterday. So I was asking myself, where is the newspaper? So we have to do something about marketing. We have to sell that. Okay? I've been looking for that. I've always been very proud being a Cameroonian, but yesterday, I don't know how I feel. The nostalgic feeling was so strong that I couldn't keep in me. And that is because of the standards you have set. So it is something, it is a concept you have to keep. But now you have to look at how do I market it. So tomorrow, if you put your if I put the information yesterday, inside this funnel, some things have to remain, like the time. When did we start? We started very late. But it is not a negative point. It is something we have to, it was the first time. So remember I said last year, we should not look at, we should build on what is working and stop regretting on what is not working. We don't have the energy. We are exhausted. We need to invest our strength on what is working. So now, what worked yesterday, the undesirable effect was that we started later than planned. Then we could see we needed to raise money for development projects. I have had German friends who have come to me and said, Joy, do you have a project where I can invest in? I have some money. I work, my parents also send some money. Now, if you have to put that in Essen Nachrichten, you may have 2 or 3 of such people coming. So you leave the undesirable aspect inside the funnel and what were the lessons learned? Okay? So I went and I was trying to change that today to adapt it to SOBA, and I was cut short by time. But with that, I will stop for now because we have other speakers, and I thank you very much for listening.
Dr. Joy Alemazong has said it again, very eloquently again. He wants to differ, we respect that, on how we should do best practice with information being a key factor, so we may all become multipliers.